Welcome back, boys and girls. At this point, you should have gone around the perimeter of all your interior shapes. You've gone around the perimeter of your entire snowflake. Remember, nice and easy, making sure that that metal is definitely pushed down. And you've used various tools to smooth out the inside of each shape. And again, making sure that the shape stays the shape it's supposed to be. Now, a problem that may occur are punctures. If you can see closely, there's a puncture right here. A puncture is a little hole. You don't want to worry about that too much. It just means the metal is stretching a little further than you'd like it to. But once we put them on cardboard and put them up for display, those punctures show very minimally. They're not really a big deal. At this point, you need to carefully take your snowflake off, checking as you go. Like I noticed I can color in this or push down this little triangle a little bit more. I can do this shape a little bit more, but I want to make sure I'm maintaining the look of my paper snowflake. But this part gets pretty exciting. I'm going to notice how carefully I'm taking the tape off of each end. And you can really see all your different negative shapes on the inside. Now, the perimeter is kind of blending with the texture in the background. So for this next step, you need to be very careful that you're not making this perimeter disappear. And you're going to very slowly, what I recommend is using the bottom of your stylus. And I'm just pushing the metal down. I'm pushing. You can also use a clay tool like this. It might not be good for all the areas, but I'm rubbing the texture around the snowflake to flatten the background. You don't want to move too fast because if I slip, I'm going to push down the texture that's supposed to be showing for the snowflake, and then your snowflake's going to disappear and all your hard work will be a waste. So you don't want to rush it at the end. Notice I'm still in the same exact spot. Slowly pushing down the metal in the background. You can go back and forth with different tools. No, that one's not too good. Oh, this is what I wanted. A lot of this metal is, because it's a large area that you're trying to push down, the metal is more prone to buckling. So you need to, I try to push it down first, but I almost ended up going over this part of the snowflake. So I'm going to flip it back over and make sure that this area is still in shape, in the right shape. So it's kind of like a back and forth thing. You're kind of pushing down the texture in the background. I'm kind of pushing down like this carefully so that I begin to stretch the metal a little bit, and then I'm rubbing back and forth. I'm going to use this for this little area to get the texture out. I can use my tool this way to do larger areas. Again, where the metal's buckling or popping up a little bit, I can push it down with the end, making sure I don't lose the shape. And for large areas of texture like this that are not close to the snowflake, I can use the back end and smooth out those large areas very easily. Now, like I said earlier, we want to keep that snowflake shape. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of doing a lot of areas at once. I'm moving a little bit fast. I'm going to make sure that that snowflake stays in shape. This is an area that just buckled, so I have to remember to go back to my other tool and push those areas down. Turn back to the pointed side. Make sure my snowflake keeps its shape. And I can go back and forth. You should probably have 2 tools for this. You're going to go back and forth in between both, making sure that you keep that snowflake perimeter the way it is. I can't enforce that enough. And slowly push the metal down. You can use the end. I'm just tapping up and down, being careful not to erase that perimeter. Going back, retracing. So it's kind of like you're always working all of the metal. And some of those buckles actually aren't too bad, so you can just leave them. I'm getting close to this edge here. This is kind of a big edge, so I'm kind of just going back and forth. I'm going to retrace this section. After each time I smooth the background in one little section, you'll notice I'm going back over it, or back over the perimeter with my tools. And again, you can use this tool. And colored pencils also work very well because they kind of have a waxy surface which slides over the metal nicely. Again, you don't want to go too fast. If you go too fast, you're more likely to get those punctures in the metal. And you have to pay attention here because I almost just went over my snowflake again, and I don't want to lose that shape. So this is actually my favorite tool right here because I have the end where I can push down the metal I want to push down, and then I can just flip it over, and I'm not actually changing tools all the time other than when I want to do a big area like this. So you're just going to continue to go around, like pushing down the metal, smoothing out large areas, retracing. Very quickly, you're smoothing out the metal, retracing, smoothing out the texture. The texture should only be showing the design of your snowflake when you're finished. So I'm going to go ahead and complete my snowflake. There's one more step I have to show you, but why don't you continue to work on your project, and then we'll all work on figuring out the next step.